Hi, I'm Stuart Leask, owner and operator of LeaseSpec, and welcome back to another episode of Road to GTR Festival. Just a quick brief rundown. What Road to GTR Festival is it's a quick overview of some of the products that I have coming down the pipeline right now. It's stuff that I'm either have released or am releasing or am kind of debuting in response to the GTR Festival that is coming to Ennis, Texas, November 15th, 16th, and 17th. I'm going to put a couple of clips in here real quick to just kind of give you a brief overview of what GTR Festival is.
The drag racing is one of the main attractions at the PRP GTR Festival, as the quickest Skyline GTRs and RB-powered cars on the planet rocket down the quarter mile, joined by some special guests. But it's not all about 2,000 horsepower drag monsters though. Anyone can race any Nissan of any power level in multiple classes. Unlike conventional drag racing events, there's no qualifying or eliminations to complicate things. Simply run your car for fun, grudge race your mates, run a PB, try and get a record, or try and win one of the various classes by simply being the quickest.
I don't know about you, but I think that it is extremely cool that all of this kind of stuff is coming to Texas. There's going to be drag racing. Some of the fastest GTRs in the world are going to be there. There's going to be a big trade show in which I have purchased booth space so that I can also debut some of these products in person, amongst many other things that are going to be there as well. So, without further ado, I'm going to go on to the product that we are going to be covering in this episode. This product is going to be the Downpipe. Downpipe is something that isn't exactly unavailable in today's market. There's multiple brands that make good units, anything from Mines. Mines makes a nice equal length stainless and titanium unit. Raymax makes a good unit. ARC made a unit for a little bit. Tomei makes units now. HKS makes stainless, etc., etc. There's about 1 million Japanese companies that make them. Only a couple of companies take a stab at making them equal length, namely Raymax and Mines. And the downside to both of those units is a couple of different things. A, the inlet sizing is a little small and undersized. Don't quote me on this, and I'll put an asterisk if I'm wrong, but I believe that they are 65 millimeter inlets, which isn't exactly good for maximum horsepower and maximum flow. The other downside is they have pretty big ground clearance issues. Actually, let me go ahead and show you what the Mines looks like off of my car. And you might say, well, that's because you were using it for years on end, blah, blah, blah. This happened within about 3 months of car ownership, give or take, and then it hit quite a few other times since then. Is it a bad unit? No, not at all. Am I insinuating that these are not worth the money? No, not at all. But if you have a car that's kind of similar to my R33, where the ride height is a little bit low, there's a lot of advantages to having a downpipe that's built to kind of tuck up a little bit higher. Now, I've already built this downpipe for my car, and I will kind of include some of it in these videos, and then I'm building another one, a duplicate downpipe for this car. This is a R34 V-Spec. It's a customer car that's getting my full TitanRS exhaust system. So from the start, we are going to be doing one of my TitanRS downpipes with twin 3-inch inlets and a 3.5-inch single outlet with maximum ground clearance in mind. So what that means is it's going to be as tucked up as high as possible. It'll actually have better ground clearance than even the factory downpipe here. This sits a little bit low for what it is. Now granted, obviously, it has a lot of space up top. For factory constraints and everything, Nissan wasn't trying to build these so that these cars could sit super low. I completely understand that, nor am I insinuating that they did that. But moving on past the ground clearance issue, basically what I'll be doing is I'll be showcasing some of the production and some of the steps that I take in fitting up this product, the creation of the product, and basically everything that's involved. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with removing this downpipe, and then let's go ahead and cut it over to B-roll of everybody's favorite, fabrication and welding. So let's get started. Here we'll start with a small insight into some of my fit-up stages. Yes, I am looking for a sponsorship from Scotch Tape, if anybody out there is listening. Um, this part of the downpipe actually sets the ground height of the unit, and it places all the other components, so it needs to be pretty accurate. And now for the fun part of the twin turbo setup. The front turbo outlet. It is obviously buried under a cluster of various items. It is a tough to reach spot, and it is even tougher to fabricate in. So building these on the car can be quite challenging, but once you kind of get a system down, it becomes a little bit easier. As I'm sure you've noticed, I'm pretty particular about making sure that I purge all of my pieces before tacking and during welding, and the result is a beautiful weld inside and out every time. At this point in the fabrication stage, I'm double checking all of the angles, because the angle of the front outlet and the angle of the rear outlet both need to match up pretty accurately so that the slip fits go on without much resistance at all. And there's more of that beautiful blue tape. I prefer to use these nice subtle transitions from Titan whenever I can to keep a slow and smooth transition in tubing size. Here's a OEM R34 exhaust hanger bracket. You'll notice that it's a little bit too small for 3.5-inch tubing to fit just right. So what I've done is I've redesigned it to accommodate the larger 3.5-inch flange while still locating everything in the factory location. And this will be included as standard with all downpipes, as I believe factory mounting is very important. And now that the main run is done, I can go ahead and start fabricating the merge. I'll begin with cutting this out of a piece of aluminum, as it's a lot quicker and cheaper, and then I'll use a template and transfer it over to titanium so I can finish getting everything welded in.
Installation can sometimes be a little tricky because this is larger diameter tubing in a very confined space. So what I recommend doing is actually leaving the front outlet just a little bit loose so that there is just a small bit of wiggle room for the rear section to slip fit onto each ends. And once it's on, you can give them a final tighten up and you should be good to go. And I wanted to take a second and use this shot to just really emphasize and drive home just how great the ground clearance really is on this unit.
Okay, now on the topic of ground clearance, I know that I had mentioned that I've already built one of these systems for my R33. I wanted to just kind of show you what kind of ground clearance I'm seeing with this unit underneath my car. Now, as you can see, my car isn't exactly like airbag slammed, but I do keep my GTRs relatively low. So I think that this is a good example of what's possible for ground clearance on these units. And that's a wrap on this episode of Road to GTR Festival on the titanium downpipe. I'm sorry that this one was a little bit heavy and fabrication intensive, but I kind of just wanted to give you guys a good idea of exactly how much work, time, and effort goes into these products. So with that being said, I will still have a couple more of these coming before GTR Festival. I said it at the beginning of the video, but just to reiterate, GTR Festival is at Ennis, Texas, and it's November 15th, 16th, and 17th. And if you are coming by, I would really appreciate it if you stopped by the booth, said hi, introduced yourself, check out the products, and just check out and kind of see some of what I've got going on. Anyways, looking forward to seeing you guys there, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you very much.